The Macau Formula 4 race here on the gear circuit of Macau is about to come up. The qualification race, a duration of 8 laps in prospect for the FIA F4 World Cup. And it's an addition to the programme this year for the 72nd running of the Macau Grand Prix. And it's a very welcome addition as well. We've seen Formula 4 cars around the gear circuit before, and we saw them on the first weekend of 2 weekends just a couple of years ago when we were celebrating the 70th Macau Grand Prix, and they are fantastic. Around the gear circuit at Macau, F4 cars are nimble, they're quick, and we've got young drivers, probably the youngest drivers ever to compete around the streets of Macau, and they have equipped themselves pretty well over the last couple of days, and they kept the Macau Grand Prix running over 2 years, 3 years, when we had restricted access to the event, and many people were working remotely for 3 years for the Macau Grand Prix. But the Formula 4 cars, they kept everything running for the Macau Grand Prix, and they did it to great effect. And now it becomes a World Cup for the FIA. It is the FIA F4 World Cup, and the cars are making their way out onto the circuit to form up on the grid as we speak. In the commentary box with me is David Addison, and we both agreed, didn't we? F4 cars, I think it was 2020 we saw them for the first time around the streets of Macau, are perfectly suited.
They're perfectly suited because they're small, but they're quick, they're narrow, they're nimble. And they're perfectly suited because it's an international category these days. People still mourn the loss of things like the Formula 4 Festival when it was for career racing drivers, and you would have this end-of-season shootout where the best of the category would come from all over the world. I'm not for a moment suggesting this is anything like the Formula 4 Festival. What I am suggesting is that this is a brilliant idea to bring the best F4 drivers from around the globe where the category operates in different regions, and to put them all together. And where this also works as a very good concept, and it's an idea from the FIA single-seater commission president Emanuele Pirro, is rather than have lots of different teams with varying levels of experience of this circuit, one team, you're allocated a car, an engine, an engineer, and it's about as level a playing field as it can get. We have on the grid the Middle Eastern champion, the Central European Zone champion, the French champion, the Chinese champion, the British champion, and the Italian champion. We've only got 19 cars, and that's 6 champions already.
Proof that it works.
Well,
absolutely right. When international drivers come from around the world to all have this sort of shootout event, this the second step, if you like, over the course of this weekend, because this is the qualification race, and then they'll have the big race tomorrow on Grand Prix Day. But it is from all corners of the globe, champions coming together. And right, let's see who's the best then. We'll put you in equal machinery around an incredibly challenging, probably the most challenging circuit that you have raced on in an F4 car, and let's see who comes out on top.
And don't forget, these drivers are driving on public roads for the first time, as in they're not old enough to have a driving license.
That's a very good point.
So although they've raced on circuits, if they've not been on a street circuit before, many won't, this is the first time they'll have any feel for a public road. Blimey, Macau at speed in a racing car, crikey. Do you get the feeling that there's a slightly dark, sinister side to Emanuele Pirro to make them go and do this, because it really is tough, isn't it?
Absolutely spot on. First time he's going to be driving on the road.
He said to me last year, Macau is all about learning. Blimey, do you learn a lot in conditions like that, especially if you haven't even driven on the road before? Everybody in the same sort of car. They are Miguel M21 F4 chassis. They've all got 1300cc turbo Alpine engines in the back. The French Sporting Federation is here with an administrative role because it runs a similar Central Operation Championship. Mintimes, that runs the Chinese Championship, is the company operating the FIA F4 World Cup for us this weekend. With all the cars, as I say, centrally run, it has been a big success so far. And yesterday in the qualifying session, and indeed on Thursday in free practice, there was a group of drivers taking the best times, not one driver dominating, which has been really good to see. Finn McLaughlin, British champion, has had a bit of a torrid weekend. Better quickly get the story out of the way. He's 6th on the grid, but when he left the pit lane in FP1 on Thursday, he did not get as far as the next corner. Car ground to a halt, stopped the session, that was him done. We thought everything was good for FP2, and again, another problem. He did a series of laps into the pit lane, the car just would not perform. It got to the point where, because there was a spare chassis and a spare engine, he was allowed to have that. So for qualifying yesterday, it was a big improvement, and here is the Red Bull junior driver making his way to the 6th rank on the grid. We didn't see the onboard shots yesterday in qualifying because that was the first time he'd been in this replacement car, and therefore cameras weren't fitted. They were on the old one, but there's been some hard work overnight, and now we can ride on board with Finn McLaughlin, 5 times a winner in the British F4 Championship this season. It's going to be a fascinating race, this. Can't wait.
It really is. He did a super job in qualifying, bearing in mind he hadn't completed a full lap for the free practice sessions thus far, and he went into qualifying. He qualified superbly in 6th place, and he was very exceptional in the British Championship this year to take the title. So what a pro at such an early age to deal with all of the challenges over the last couple of days, and then to go into qualifying and qualify on the outside of the 3rd row of the grid. Top work. There's some family connections as well, some familiar surnames, including the driver that's on pole position, Sebastian Weldon. We've got Rintaro Sato on the grid. We've got Thomas Behrman as well. They are surnames that already we know in the motorsport world, and it's fantastic to see so many international drivers being represented for the first time of the FIA F4 World Cup.
Sebastian Weldon on pole position, son of the late Dan Weldon, 5 times a win in the Italian Championship, as well as winning in the Middle East Championship in the winter months. 2nd on the grid, Kei Nakamura Berta, who has a Japanese mum, a Slovak father. He was born in London, went to live in Japan for a time, then came back to London, and he's also been racing in the Middle East Championship, and last year he was runner-up in the UAE Championship to one Freddie Slater, who we'll see in the Grand Prix itself here. 3rd on the grid is this year's Middle East champion, Emanuele Olivieri. And Alan, you were talking about familiar surnames. Well, let me stretch the point a little bit, because Emanuele Olivieri is the godson of Dindo Capello, multiple Le Mans winner and touring car champion and all-round star of Audis, and co-driver of Emanuele Pirro, just to cement the link back to the FIA Commission President. Olivieri has been 6th in the Italian F4 Championship, the one won by Kei Nakamura Berta this year. And then, as you say, Thomas Behrman, well, he's 4th on the grid, brother in Formula 1, dad used to race MGs, and this is Thomas's first full season. He only came in to car racing midway back end of last year for a part season, didn't he?
Had a good qualifying, didn't he? Showed pace that we hadn't seen so much in free practice, but then switched it on in the first competitive, if you like, action of the weekend. And in qualifying on the outside of row 2 was really good qualifying.
There is Emanuele Olivieri's car, and there's the Audi badge on the side. He's got some backing from an Audi dealership, but there's also that Audi link courtesy of his godfather. And Olivieri went really well yesterday, the Audi Zentrum Asti backed driver. A little bit further back on the grid, quick word about Gino Trapper, or Gennaro Trapper, Gino for short. He had a pretty torrid day yesterday with a couple of incidents, and a sizable off in qualifying resulted in that car needing an engine change overnight. We talked about the F4 champions. We've also got on the grid Arai Bansal, the driver from Bangalore, who has raced a bit in British F4, but also won the GB4 Championship, which is a UK-based series for earlier models of the F4 concept. So rather than the cars have no home, GB4 was created to give them somewhere to run, and Arai Bansal won that. I've just spotted Emanuele Pirro heading onto the grid, so must be pretty pleased with the outcome of the entry for this race. This is Kei Nakamura Berta making his way to the grid. He'll slot in 2nd on this 1-by-1 stagger.
Pit lane closes in less than 30 seconds, so it'll be straight on to the grid, and we get some great onboard shots as well, don't we, to ride on board around the gear circuit at Macau in a single-seater, be it a Formula Regional car, which we'll see later on today for the Macau Grand Prix, or an F4 car. It just gives you an idea of the kind of commitment that you need in a single-seater car. Riding on board is a bit of a treat of modern camera technology, and we're very grateful for it.
the modern-day Formula 4 car, as you see, apes Formula 1 in as much as it has the FIA-mandated Halo device. We talk about how things have moved on at Macau. They have, and safety is one of them in terms of not just the track, but the cars as well. And there is Keen Nakamura Berta then threading his way through a busy grid up to position number 2. He will slot in ahead of Thomas Behrmann.
Leaving it late as well, leaving it to the last possible minute. So he'll have the warmest tyres now.
He will. He will indeed. So there is Keen Nakamura Berta. Gives a thumbs up to his engineer.
Everything okay? Yep.
Yep. Not a talkative chap. I think there'll be quite a few nerves on the grid right now, understandably. A few ice packs brought out because even in an open-top racing car, it is hot down there.
There are very few drivers in single-seaters these days that will talk to you on the grid.
Yeah,
if you approach with a camera crew, with a microphone, I don't remember the last time I knelt down next to a single-seater car and actually got any kind of acknowledgement that I was there, because they get into the zone. It's what their performance coaches, their driver coaches train them to do. The minute they're there on the grid, they're basically, it's part of the race.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Sebastian Weldon then making his way to the grid. Alan and I can show our age here because we can vividly remember commentating on his dad in Formula Vauxhall Junior and saying he's going to be a star, and he was. Taken far too soon was Dan. And Sebastian coming up to the grid then. Interesting that he is the man on pole position, because I'll rattle through that list of champions. He has not been a champion in an F4 category. He's done lots of race wins, yes, but he's not been a champion. But he drove really well in qualifying yesterday, and there he is on pole position.
It's a unique place, isn't it, Macau? The gear circuit, the 6 kilometres of the gear circuit of Macau is completely unique, and you need certain elements of being a racing driver that might not necessarily have come together to put a championship together, when you need consistency across many rounds and many different types of circuit. But this, I think, above all, not only needs speed, but also a huge amount of bravery and commitment, and that's what Sebastian Weldon showed yesterday in qualifying. Superb.
He did indeed, and this was a driver that was quickest for a time, Emanuele Olivieri. That's Thomas Behrmann, who, as I say, has been a race winner in the British F4 Championship and comes from good motor racing stock, that is for sure. And having the blowers there to get some cool air on him, the umbrella to keep the heat off. There behind is number 3 of Thiago Rodriguez. Now, he has been an F4 champion, not this year, but back in 2023. He won the Chinese championship. He's also raced in the Macau Kart Grand Prix, the Macanese driver. And last year he was in the Grand Prix itself for Formula Regional cars and had an accident on lap 1, but has bounced back. And so, over the course of the weekend, as the British F4 champion here, Finn McLaughlin. He's heading off to FIA F3 for next year, rather than Formula Regional. So, will we ever see him back at Macau?
Many drivers compete in FIA F3 and then decide, hang on, I like Macau, I want to go back. So,
don't rule it out. Yeah. Well, I hope we do. But I also hope we see the best of him in the 2 races here this weekend.
Let's see what sort of weekend he has, because, if you sample the taste of success here on the streets of Macau, you want it again and again.
After Finn McLaughlin, Rintaro Sato, who had a big shunt yesterday, son of Takuma Sato. That's Jules Roussel. Now, he's got a grid drop of 3 places for being involved in an incident yesterday with Thiago Rodriguez that stopped the session. Rodriguez, I don't think, did lose his best time, because although he necessitated the flag, it wasn't his fault that the accident was caused. The officials couldn't really apportion blame either way, but Roussel was given a grid drop. That's Simon Zhang, Shimo Zhang, but Simon as he likes to be known. He's the Chinese champion, and that's the Central European Zone champion, the Argentine driver, Gino Trapper. Engine change for Trapper, and the next driver that you'll get to on the grid is Kyu-Ho Lee, the South Korean, who did a bit of karting in the UK a few years back, but Spanish F4 was his main focus this season. Kimi Chow is for number 61. He was a race winner within the Chinese championship this season. more and more young drivers adopting a Kimi tag to their name. Kimi Antonelli, you've got Kimi Chan, and the next driver you get to on the grid is another of the Satos. They're unrelated. This is Itsuki Sato, runner-up in the Japanese F4 Championship and a race winner in the Indian Championship, all of which just illustrates how popular F4 now is around the globe.
It really is. It's why it was introduced. It has grown and grown. Commentating on the British Championship this year, I was just had a sort of a slightly nostalgic feel when I looked at the timing screens over the course of the year, because we have the flags of the nations that are competing on the timing screen, and I saw so many flags. It kind of took me back to Formula 3 in the 1980s and 90s in Great Britain, where so many drivers decided, okay, this is where I want to learn my craft, this is where I want to be, and drivers, Ayrton Senna immediately springs to mind, packs a bag, up sticks, sets up on a house share with Maurizio Gugelmin in Surrey, and does a complete year of British F3, and that's when the world first knew about it.
And was a winner here. That's 1983 Formula 3 season. First year Formula 3 was the category at the Grand Prix. So somewhere on this grid are Formula 1 stars of the future. And remember the names, because in a few seasons' time, they will be on a Grand Prix grid, no doubt. The grid is now being cleared. They will have one further formation lap before they are released into battle. And there, the drivers set ready to go. Keen Nakamura Berta for second on the grid, Sebastian Weldon for pole position. That is Emanuele Olivieri, pat on the helmet to wish him well, and another. And then he sorts out where his crash helmet should be. But it's going to be a really intriguing race, this. Let's have a look at the grid then, just recap who starts where. Sebastian Weldon is on pole position. Italian champion Keen Nakamura Berta, the British driver, lines up second. The Middle Eastern champion Emanuele Olivieri is third, ahead of Thomas Behrman and Thiago Rodriguez. British champion Finn McLaughlin goes from sixth, ahead of Rintaro Sato and Are Bansal. Jules Roussel with his grid drop seventh, ahead of the Chinese champion Simon Zhang. Central East European zone Gino Trapper is 11th from Kyoho Lee, then Kimi Chan, and Itsuki Sato. Ryan Caretti is 15th from Emily Cotti, Marcus Chung, the Macanese driver, and 18th on the grid, the French champion Alex Munoz, who's had two big shunts this weekend, with Wang Zhuzhe rounding out the grid. There is a lot at stake. There's a lot to look for here. We're building this up, but it is, in quotes, only the qualification race. The results of this sort out the grid for the World Cup itself.
But I love the fact that we have a Saturday of racing. So the way that we have a 4-day meeting for the Macau Grand Prix. Day one, free practice, and that's the time to get used to the circuit. For these young drivers, it's time to learn it and to feel it in the real world. So not just sitting in a simulator in glorious air conditioning. It's a bit different when you're dealing with the sunshine beating down on you and trying to stay as cool as you possibly can under an umbrella when you're down on the grid, but actually feeling the bumps, feeling the undulations of the gear circuit here at Macau, which we say it all the time. These are the normal streets of Macau. On Monday morning, barriers are going to be lifted up. They're going to be put on the back of recovery vehicles, and they're going to be stored for another year. And there's nothing quite like actually being in a race car. So Thursday is about that. Friday is about qualifying, and then we get 2 races over the course of the weekend. And people wonder why I like to come to Macau in November every year.
It is a circuit like no other, and there are drivers that excel here that perhaps haven't at other places. There are drivers that arrive here as champions or drivers with big reputations that struggle. And it's fascinating to see this end of season shootout, whether it's in a GT car, as we have to come later today, or a Formula Regional chassis, as we have later on, or in these F4 Mégales that are good to go. We're into the final 1 minute of the countdown, a formation lap, and then 8 laps are ahead of us.
Here we go then. The pulse rate begins to rise down on the grid inside the cars, and this is the moment that drivers rather like, because once they are set off on the green flag lap, it's them and it's the car. They are on their own. They are in isolation. All of the people, the teams, the guests, everything that goes around an event which is this big, and they'll feel it a lot more tomorrow as well on Grand Prix Day. But that's all gone. Now they can get on with what they know, what they do. And as the engine notes rise down on the grid, the green flag is waved, off they go.
But not Sebastian Weldon, who is stranded. He's got going now, and the good news is that not everybody overtook, because if everybody had have overtaken, he would be forced to start at the back of the grid. Now, at least, he's able to work his way back to pole position, but looked as though he couldn't get the car in gear and was slow away. But Sebastian Weldon, that'll just upset the heart rate a little bit, but better he gets the mistake out of his system on the formation lap rather than the start of the race. And here he comes, storming his way to the front.
Yeah, that would have been a bit of a moment when the pulse was getting a bit high, and it's when it really needs to count, when everything needs to go right, and all of a sudden you're on pole position and you get unsettled when you set off on the green flag lap. Now he needs to make sure that he settles down and plays his normal game.
Yeah.
Because, okay, that was something that didn't go quite according to plan, but that's behind him now. Needs to think about the start of the race.
So out of Lisboa, up here San Francisco Hill, and then the cars turn their way through a sequence of corners towards the sharp right here of Maternity. Takes you past the hospital, and then they drop down the hill, heading towards Teddy Yip corner, whose house looms over the circuit. Teddy Yip, who was always a huge part of the Macau Grand Prix, as well as, of course, building his own Formula One cars and taking this area into Formula One Grand Prix racing. And the Theodore Racing name continues, supporting Kramer within the Grand Prix itself. Then the cars drop down through the Solitude S's, down Faraway Hill, and eventually get to Police, so-called because it's near the police station, and then they climb up towards Moorish and then on to Donna Maria. But at this part of the circuit, finding a reference point really hard. That's a bit more like it. That's down at Police. This is the short climb up towards Moorish. And Sebastian Weldon then, having got himself back to the queue of cars, a little bit red-faced maybe, but he's trying to calm himself down again now, as well as warm up the tyres ready for the start of the race.
Donna Maria, this long left-hander, and they know that the end of this tight, twisty section is in sight as they go around the left-hand of Donna Maria, because the Melco hairpin, no overtaking here. You just have to thread it through neatly and tidily. And that's what we noted when we first saw the F4 cars around the gear circuit, that they seem to be able to do it with consummate ease going around the Melco hairpin, which during other races, maybe for the slightly larger GT3 cars, it's a bit more of a handful, isn't it?
It is indeed. And on this part of the circuit, from here on all the way down to Lisboa, you can think about overtaking. There's the room, and there's also the ability to get a tow. Even in these cars with slicks and wings, the Aero Age, you can still get a tow, and it's going to be Sebastian Weldon then who brings the cars up towards the grid, accelerates, snakes the car, gets a little bit more warmth into the rubber, and then he will put the car onto pole. The red, white and blue livery carried by Keen Nakamura Berta behind. The green colouring you see on Emanuele Olivieri's car, and Thomas Behrmann's dark and white chassis will be next. So the cars into place. There'll be that green flag at the back to say that we are good to go. It's going to be 8 laps for the first part, if you like, of the FIA F4 World Cup, the Macau Formula 4 race. This is the qualification race. Results determine the grid. So yes, you want to do well. Yes, you want a good result, but you need to finish, because if you don't, you're going to be at the back for tomorrow, and then the mountain is a very steep one that you've got to climb. The last driver into place is going to be Wang Yuzhe. Once he is there, we can get set for our first race of the weekend for the Macau Formula 4 race in the FIA F4 World Cup.
Here we go then, the final car forms up on the grid, and then we'll wait for the green flag to be shown at the rear of the grid, and then the countdown is on to get this race underway. Our first single-seater car race of the weekend. It is for Formula 4, the FIA F4 World Cup. 5 lights on. Out they go, the race underway. Good start off the line from Sebastian Weldon. So too from the outside of the road for Keen Nakamura Berta. But a very, very good start indeed for Oliveri from the second row of the grid. Really good off the line, and now already having a look at Weldon for the lead of the race. Yeah, Nakamura Berta bogged down slightly. Olivieri up into second, and he's having a go for the race lead on the outside, coming into Mandarin. That's brave, and he's done it right round the outside. Fantastic effort
That is a brave, brave man. Emanuele Olivieri then is the race leader for second place. It is Weldon on the inside. It's Nakamura Berta on the outside. Finn McLaughlin's up to fourth already. Can they all get through Lisboa? No! Weldon's gone. Nakamura Berta has gone. Both of them outbreak themselves and go wide. That's going to put McLaughlin up into second place, potentially. Keen Nakamura Berta, the Italian champion, is in the wall. And he's not the only one. That is a disaster for him as Emanuele Olivieri leads the way as he wriggles his way now up towards maternity.
The front row of the grid is nestled neatly in the barrier down at Lisboa. Unbelievable. Sebastian Weldon and Keen Nakamura Berta as we look back at very, very disappointed drivers that now know what lies ahead tomorrow. A difficult race is the answer. Both of them from the front row of the grid. Oliveri, great start from Oliveri. And that other story which is emerging is Finn McLaughlin's race. Yeah. These are headline stories in the writing here.
Well, the drivers need to be out of the cars. I'm waiting to see whether we get a safety car, which I rather fear is on its way. But for now, it is Olivieri ahead of McLaughlin. And a drama in the background, another one in the wall, two in the wall. In fact, so that's at Moorish, and we're definitely going to get the safety car now. One of those, I reckon, the nearest one to us is Thiago Rodriguez. Was that Behrman that went as well?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Right, safety car deployed. Safety car is deployed, to nobody's great surprise. And you put young drivers then, all keen to impress, under a big, big amount of pressure. Safety car deployed, and the survivors will come through at the end of lap one. Emanuele Olivieri leads from Finn McLaughlin, and I reckon up into third place now is Rintaro Sato.
This is an amazing story, an amazing journey for a first Macau for Finn McLaughlin. He didn't complete a lap in free practice 1. He didn't complete a lap in free practice 2. Not his fault. The car wasn't working. A mechanical problem with the car loomed in FP1. We didn't find out what it was, but they thought they had resolved it. Clearly they hadn't, because he wasn't able to complete a lap for FP2. Went straight into qualifying yesterday, having not done a full lap around the gear circuit here at Macau. And now he finds himself in second place behind the safety car. Wow, what a journey.
There's the replay of the first incident. Weldon understeering out wide, Nakamura Berta understeering out wide as well. That does look like Thomas Behrman's overalls in the background, clambering out of his car. And confirmation that he has not been through. We've lost Gino Trapper somewhere as well. So two incidents we're aware of, but Gino Trapper is not shown on our timing display, having not even got through the first sector. Now, I thought he was on the grid. I'm sure we saw him on the grid. Maybe he's got a transponder glitch, or maybe he was very slow off the line and didn't get as far as the first sector at Lisboa. Anyway, there's quite a lot of clearing up to be done. So we started with 19 and 14 are still circulating. That sums up Macau, doesn't it?
We haven't had the onboard shot as a car is lifted before, and I rather like it. And you can see just how quickly they're able to pick these cars up, pop them on the recovery vehicles, and then the teams can begin to look. Right.
Now this is on board with Keen Nakamura Berta from the start. Not a great getaway, and he's already been jumped by Emanuele Olivieri. That's Thomas Behrman in 87. Behind to the outside line goes Thiago Rodriguez. So Nakamura Berta defends from him. By this stage, Olivieri has been an absolute hero and gone round the outside of Weldon at Mandarin, and how he has managed to do that on cold tyres is quite something. There's McLaughlin. Look how close McLaughlin was up towards the wall. Now, Nakamura Berta at this point is on the attack. He's heading for the outside of Weldon, but the outside line is a little bit dirtier. He arrives a bit too quickly. He brakes for the corner, but he just can't get the car slowed, and there's just not enough turn available, and he's off. He's in the barriers. To his right, Weldon's already in the wall. That's Rodriguez. I'm afraid for Thiago, another year, another lap one crash.
And what a unique view looking back from Nakamura Berta's car, and straight on into Lisboa. Gino Trapper out from the pit lane.
Yeah, I didn't see the car in the pit lane.
Nor did I.
Unless it stopped at pit exit and has now rejoined from there. So that's your Behrman and Rodriguez incident. So those cars now are about to be retrieved. And the two incidents around the circuit being attended to. The safety car going at a pace so that it doesn't eat into too many laps of the competition, but it's got to go at a quick enough pace for the drivers to maintain temperature in the tyres. I think we need the cars to go through this section before that incident unit, you can just see in the escape road, can be deployed. Another replay of the start. Right, so good getaway by Weldon. Not a great start by Nakamura Berta, but all eyes at this point on Emanuele Olivieri. They're in second place in the green and white car because he gets into the wheel tracks of Weldon. He gets a tow and moves to the outside, heading down towards Mandarin. Now, common sense says, don't bother to try there, but Olivieri goes round the outside and comes out in front there, right up against the wall. But that was a mega move.
Hugely brave, wasn't it? Absolutely superb start, and very, very brave indeed. If you just go back about 20 minutes, we said one of the elements that you need to excel here on the streets of Macau is bravery, and that was rather proof. That was a very brave move indeed.
But there you go, 2 corners into the race, and all the work they've done over the last 2 days wasted for Weldon and Nakamura Berta. This is Olivieri's start from the onboard. So out of reservoir, he gets into the wheel tracks, into the slipstream now of Sebastian Weldon, and Emanuele Olivieri to the outside line, the dirty line, down towards Mandarin. Gets his nose in front and is about a cigarette paper width away from the wall. Crikey, heart in mouth stuff. Emanuele Olivieri is going to have to pay excess baggage, I think, for his whatnots, because he is a brave, brave boy.
I have no more words.
What a move. What a move.
Absolutely unbelievable. You couldn't get much more bravery than that, could you? On the opening lap as well. Absolutely supreme stuff.
I'm all in favour of Finn McLaughlin's fairy tale story, but Olivieri deserves to win this race for that move alone.
That is something else. Absolutely something else. Wow.
If I had my hat with me, I would tip it to him, because that was just awesome. Really was. Other people that have benefited out of all of the dramas of the first lap: Rintaro Sato up to third, Jules Roussel is fourth, bearing in mind he started ninth with his grid drop. Simon Shang is fifth, Ari Bansal is in sixth place. And how about this? Alexandra Munoz, 18th on the grid, is up into 10th.
That's pretty good, isn't it? Wow. So already stories have unfolded. This is an 8-lap race. We are on the second lap behind the safety car as we head down towards the right-hander at Lisboa, and this is on board with Olivieri, and another view of what was a mighty, mighty move on the streets of Macau, up towards the back of Sebastian Weldon. Gets himself set up, and he's got to hold this line on the outside, and we're going to slow this through Mandarin. Whoa, so close to the wall, and opportunity to slow that manoeuvre down with the technology that we have with our replays now. Just seeing that slowing out of the corner. What a move. What a move to get into the lead of the race and leading down into Lisboa as well. So everybody else can do what you want, but you've taken the lead of the race.
Right, circuit's nearly clear, isn't it? Because Thiago Rodriguez, Thomas Behrman's car's out of the way. It was Behrman who was the first one into the barrier, and then Rodriguez came around the corner and sort of tripped over him and put himself in the wall. So frustration continues for the Macau driver, Thiago Rodriguez, here. So Emanuele Olivieri behind the safety car, making his way now on down towards police and through the incident zone. If it's clear, then that's going to be the indication that we might be pretty close to going back racing.
It wasn't a last-minute move, was it? He'd planned that. He'd set the move up, like playing a game of snooker.
Yeah.
He'd put himself in the right place on the circuit. You made the point as well. That's the dirty part of the circuit. There'll be all sorts of nasties on the tarmac down there, but he braved it out and it worked. But boy, oh boy, we talk about fine margins around the circuit of Macau, and that was just about as fine as the margins can get. So behind the BMW safety car, the safety car coming in this lap. So we're going to be back and racing. This is very, very good news indeed. I think it was a good idea to have the Formula 4 cars here this year.
Well, you and I have always been sort of quite keen on them, haven't we?
Big fans.
Ever since they were the main category for the Grand Prix. And perhaps we're lucky because we see them regularly in the British Championship and on our foreign jaunts at the end of seasons. We see other championships as well, but it proves how good a category it is that the formula has been so successful globally. So down they come now through the approach to Black Sands. And Olivieri, I think, has pulled the pin, all ready to go, hasn't he? So speed building, here we come, ready for the resumption of the race.
Here we go, we're about to get things back underway for the FIA F4 World Cup and the Macau Formula 4 race around the final corner up towards the line. And Olivieri leads the field across the line down towards the scene of that incredible move down at Mandarin on the very fast run, on board with Finn McLaughlin in second place. And let's see how close he can get when they get down towards Lisboa. A little puff of the tyre there for the race leader, for Olivieri, through that Mandarin corner on the cleaner part of the circuit this time. But Finn McLaughlin is having a look, isn't he? He's all over the circuit, all over the back of the leader, side by side on the way down into Lisboa. Slots in behind, but Finn McLaughlin can sense a victory here.
From 230 kilometres an hour through Mandarin to 80 kilometres in second gear to Lisboa, McLaughlin was in the wheel tracks. Very good defensive driving then by Emanuele Olivieri as the cars now make their way up the hill. No yellow flags as far as we know. McLaughlin is all over Olivieri like a rash then as the cars wriggle their way up towards Maternity. In third place it's Rintaro Sato, and side by side nearly McLaughlin sticks his nose up the inside. He is absolutely determined this is going to be his race win. Olivieri is going to have to make that the world's widest Miguel to keep him at bay. Finn McLaughlin then, having not turned a lap all day on Thursday, second place, fighting for a win. Brilliant.
Can I breathe again? My goodness, you don't often see a single-seater having a little nose so close to the race leader on this tight and twisty section, but Finn McLaughlin is showing his intent, isn't he? Around Police, up towards Moorish they go. The top two have got a good gap, so the two of them can work away together, and they have broken away from the rest of the field.
Lisboa is your chance to overtake because of the toe you get, and the move has to be teed up from the exit of this corner. So here they come now, up towards the hairpin, and if McLaughlin gets a good run off here, he can sit in the wheel tracks. He's almost given him a shove round the corner, so close did he get. Come on, he says. And actually that's hurt McLaughlin. He's fallen back by a couple of lengths, so he's now got to do the hard yards all over again as they come back down towards Fisherman's.
And you're right to say the exit from Melco corner is absolutely vital to setting up a manoeuvre, and Finn McLaughlin has had to rectify the mistake. He's nowhere near as close to the back of the race leader as he was, but he's pulling it back in, isn't he? He's reining in the race leader. He's once again showing his intent, planting himself on a different part of the tarmac to let Olivieri know he's still there. The Red Bull liveried car in second place once again is mounting the challenge.
So nose to tail coming out of Reservoir. Rintaro Sato third behind them. The black car is Jules Roussel. The pink and white livery is Simon Zhang. The yellow colour of Are Bansal. And McLaughlin's move for the race lead is on now because he's in the wheel tracks. He gets a toe. Is he going to be able to dive to the inside as they get down towards Lisboa? He's just a little bit too far back, and he does not need to do a full send here and risk going off when a front row for the main race tomorrow would suffice. So the move is being made against Are Bansal by Rayan Caretti, and he goes through nicely in the blue car on the inside.
Certainly does, as the leaders turn up through San Francisco Hill, and this time much further back is Finn McLaughlin. That little tap, and I'm pretty sure there was a little tap coming out of Melco, may have cost. I hope the front wing isn't damaged, because they're going to need a front wing to be absolutely doing what it does around the streets of Macau. Let's hope not, because they are pretty vulnerable, aren't they?
And Alexandre Munoz, in his rebuilt car, I'm afraid, has pitted. He was going quite nicely into the top 10, but problems persist for the French champion. So he is out of the contest, seemingly. He's going to have to start towards the back in the main race tomorrow, as the cars now accelerate again from Maternity down through the Solitude S's towards Faraway Hill. That's Sato, that's Roussel, and up behind Jules is Simon Zhang. And what about the gap between the leaders? Well, it had gone up. Olivieri doing an absolute best second sector, but McLaughlin's on his toes again to bring the gap down by doing an absolute best third. And so now as they go through Police, Olivieri does look like he's got the measure for the moment, but we are a long way from a checkered flag.
Let's hope that Finn McLaughlin can get a better exit from Melco and not be held up too much on this occasion, because that was what cost him. You made the point. You need a good exit from Melco on the run down towards Black Sands and Fisherman's. That sets you up. And oh dear,
That's Emily Cotti, I think, isn't it? Number 42, possibly. So, yes, it is, who was in 12th place. She had a crash on Thursday, and that car is tantalisingly close to an escape road. So, if only it could be just pushed and pulled, we might have the road clear. So here they come, Olivieri leading McLaughlin. Sato is catching back up in 3rd place as they come down now to the end of lap number 5. The leaders go through, and Emanuele Olivieri clearing the race lead. In 2nd spot, Finn McLaughlin. The gap between them as they go over the stripe is 1 second, in fact. So I think Olivieri is just extending. He's done the fastest lap of the race now at 2:25.6.
By 6/10 of a second. It was 0.4 of a second on the previous lap across the line, the gap between the top two, and that has extended by 0.6 of a second, 6/10, and it's over 1 second now between the top two. However, Finn McLaughlin has been really good on this part of the circuit, down through Mandarin and down on the run towards Lisboa, but not close enough to have a challenge. Not so for the 3rd place battle. Sato having to look very much in his mirrors for Roussel, and Roussel has this time put in the overall best first sector of the race. Not surprisingly, the race leader on that last lap has just put in the overall best lap, a 2:25.606.
Now, we were querying whether Finn McLaughlin hit the back of Emanuele Olivieri. This is going to answer the question. They turn into the corner, and Tap certainly does give him a knock. Not deliberately, but Finn McLaughlin just a bit keen on his toes, and that's slightly affected him, actually, the bite a bit in a sense, because he's dropped back as a consequence.
Agreed, and we thought there was just the slightest of touches, and there was, and good work by Olivieri. Confirmation on the timing screen. We've got the yellow flag down at turn 14 for Emily Cotti's car, and yeah, Olivieri did well to hold that, because that would have been a bit of a surprise knock, I would have thought.
Well, indeed. So they go through that zone. The car's well offline, actually. It's barely seen on the camera as the cars go through. So you've got Olivieri with McLaughlin trying to catch back up again, and he's brought the gap down in that last sector by a couple of tenths. Then the car's now made that run again into Donna Maria. So we're currently working lap number 6, and Finn McLaughlin getting away once more from Sato, Roussel and Simon Zhang 3rd, 4th, 5th, and edging closer to Emanuele Olivieri. He's close at the hairpin, but actually the gap stretches on exit, doesn't it? McLaughlin later on the brakes, but then he isn't able to get back on the power quite as well.
Let's see what the gap is when they complete this lap, and I'm really pleased that we've had a good few laps now where they can get into the groove and do some racing laps around the gear circuit here at Macau, which is such a reward for a driver to get into the one lap after another without interruption. Really, really good news. Okay, they're going to come up and complete another lap now. We've got the battle on for 3rd place. Sato still leading just from Roussel, and as the final sector for Finn McLaughlin was the overall best final sector on that lap. He's brought the gap down once again to 0.5 of a second, half a second between the top two.
And Roussel here is on his toes to get past Rintaro Sato for 3rd place. Finn McLaughlin on board then, trying to get a toe. He's not quite close enough, but he's in the wheel tracks coming down to Lisboa. Again, in a lot of this, it's knowing when to hold and when to fold. It's better to be on the front row for tomorrow than in the wall, and McLaughlin thinks about the inside line. Scrabbles round the corner, gets away with that. You can see the commitment is there, but McLaughlin is just staying the right side of the drama.
Sensible stuff, because that could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. And you just wonder how many thoughts were going through his head. Hang on, if I do this, if I stay here, I'm going to be on the front row for the Grand Prix tomorrow, and that's the big one. Or I could be a hero today. No, okay, slot in behind.
Exactly. Just one other thing quickly to get out of the way. Arai Bansal in 7th. Rintaro Sato in 3rd. They're both going to be investigated after the race for possibly being out of position at the first safety car line. So they may end up with a penalty. It's going to be looked at. McLaughlin here then, turning his way down through Faraway Hill, heading towards turn 14, where Emily Cotti's car has now been cleared because they've got a green flag down there, which is all good news.
Here we go then, the top two with that gap at the front of the field, this battle between two fantastic drivers around the streets of Macau on the gear circuit. Olivieri leads from the Red Bull livery British champion this year in British F4, certified by FIA, of course, the championship. And around Donna Maria, the long left-hander, up towards the Macau hairpin, seen a couple of laps ago of a little tap between the two of them, between the top two. And Finn McLaughlin knows now, keep a little distance between the two of us, because I think it worked worse for Finn McLaughlin than it did for Olivieri. Olivieri responded very well to getting an unexpected tap, but Finn McLaughlin, I think, has taken 2 or 2.5 laps to recover from that, but now he's back where he was, right on the tail of the leader.
And he is going to come through then in a moment to complete lap number 7. 1 lap to go. Emanuele Olivieri, I think, has driven a great race. So has McLaughlin, and it really sets us up nicely for the battle tomorrow, assuming they survive the last lap. Third is not yet settled, is it? Rintaro Sato ahead of Jules Roussel as they go by. The next pair, Simon Zhang from Ryan Coretti, Bansal, Chan, Lee, and then Itsuki Sato round out the top 10. Right, Finn McLaughlin, is this going to be the lap on which you become race leader, or the lap on which you decide that the front row is a better option rather than making a bid for the lead? It looks as though he's a fraction too far back. Third is closer, isn't it? Roussel has not given up in his quest to get past Sato. McLaughlin feints to the inside line. He's not going to make a move, but Roussel does try on the outside of Sato, and it doesn't pay out.
There's no need to be a hero, is there?
Not today.
Absolutely no need to be a hero today. Tomorrow will be a completely different story, but I think Olivieri at the end of this race is going to be a hero. A superb move at the start of the race for the lead of the race. And McLaughlin is a hero already. Doesn't need to do anything risky, doesn't need to do anything for the top step of the podium. All of that can come tomorrow.
So the race leader, Emanuele Olivieri, then just ahead of Finn McLaughlin. Now there is one other opportunity for McLaughlin, and that is coming down towards our bend on the last lap. We have had the Grand Prix decided that way in the past, not necessarily by the drivers that thought they were going to win it, but it has been doable. And McLaughlin, again, I suspect he's too savvy to risk everything for that, when tomorrow is a different story. Emanuele Olivieri then is the race leader, and the first time we've had an FIA badged F4 World Cup race. He is the driver, not only that he's in the lead, he's also done the fastest lap of the race, a 2:25.6, and that against a 2:24.7 as the F4 lap record sets 2 years back by Arvin Lindblad.
Through Donna Maria, they have gone up towards the Macau hairpin. Scene of that little touch early on in the race between the two of them, but everything neat and tidy. And you're looking back at potentially a race winner at Macau. McLaughlin hits the wall. From second place, McLaughlin hits the wall.
He's going to be able to limp it to the end, possibly, but was anybody else involved in all of that? Because there's another slow car up the road. So Finn McLaughlin has clobbered the wall, and after such a great story, he is going to be at the back of the grid after all, as Emanuele Olivieri comes through. The checkered flag is at the ready. Drama on the last lap of the FIA F4 World Cup qualification race. Emanuele Olivieri wins. There's a massive gap before. We've had a change for second as well. It's Jules Roussel ahead of Rintaro Sato for second and third places. Fourth is Coretti, fifth is Bansal, sixth it is Kimi Chan, seventh is Kyuho Lee. And we wait and we wait and we wait for anybody else. Coming up for eighth place then is the battered car of Simon Zhang with the right front corner completely broken. He was the other driver involved. Ninth, Itsuki Sato. 10th is Marcus Chung. 11th is Yuzhe Wang. And Finn McLaughlin has not got to the end. McLaughlin is going to end up being classified 12th and put himself on the 6th row of the grid. And there is the story. Finn McLaughlin in the wall, and he cannot believe it.
What a character-building weekend this is proving to be for the British champion. Oh, he drove such a race.
And I thought he was doing everything absolutely right,
yes.
Keeping out of trouble, staying up there, and he knows that's on him.
Frustration.
Absolutely.
Utter frustration.
He cannot believe it. He cannot yet sink in as to how he has made that mistake.
Finn, we feel it with you because he drove a super race, and the way they went down to Lisboa, you knew that he had decided, okay, this is good enough. All I have to do is hold it all together for this final lap, second on the podium today, and then I'll be on the front row of the grid tomorrow.
It's not over till it's over.
Something went wrong.
Yeah. I'd love to see the replay of that in due course, because
sure
Finn McLaughlin has thrown away a second place in that race, and he's made life very difficult. Not impossible, but very difficult for tomorrow. So we knew it was going to be a good race, and it was a good race. Really dramatic. And I don't think we expected a finish quite like that. The other car that was involved, we saw another slow car, Simon Zhang, the right front corner, completely smashed on that. He was able to drag it to the line. So there is Emanuele Olivieri. And let us see here, Finn McLaughlin. This is on board then, so he comes down to the Melco hairpin, brakes, turns in. Behind him was Sato and Jules Roussel battling, and he gets hit, doesn't he? There's a whack in the back. So McLaughlin is hit, and then he accelerates, and there's something that's possibly broken because suddenly he's weaving from side to side, and then he ends up in the wall. Here it is from the outside. Now, how on earth does he get hit in the back? There's nobody near him. So he comes through the corner. Oh, he hits the barrier. He hits the barrier. That's where the whack comes from. So, yeah, he's hooked the right rear wheel on the Armco, and that's where the suspension is broken. That's why it won't go in a straight line.
Oh.
And there is Finn McLaughlin. Well, that is a very rare incident at the Melco hairpin, because normally people take a really wide arc around it, but McLaughlin just hooked that wheel around the Armco, as you saw. That broke the rear suspension. That accounts for why it wouldn't go in a straight line. Well, he possibly could have nursed it to the end, but he ends up in the barrier, and Finn McLaughlin out of the race, out of the car. Wow. This is one story that keeps on giving. 2 moments of drama for Finn McLaughlin during that race, and both of them came at the Melco hairpin. Goodness me, I don't remember seeing that at the on the barriers on the inside of Melco hairpin. Don't remember seeing that. I can't think of an incident like it. I mean, you've been here many more years than me, but that is a first, I think. I feel so sorry for him. Goodness me. Yeah, I wouldn't go near him with a microphone just yet. You see, that's the difference between you and me. I'd like to. Yes, I'd like to hear the thoughts, but I think they might be monosyllabic for a while. Well, Emanuele Olivieri deserved that win because he drove a very good defensive race. But that move round the outside, don't forget, when he took the race lead on the opening lap of the race, on cold tyres, he was doing 230 kilometres an hour in 6th gear. That's brave. Complimenti Emanuele. Emanuele Olivieri then is the race winner. He goes to the technical area, the weight check. Let us forever remember that move on lap number 1 by Olivieri. That was something else. I think the corner needs renaming, frankly. I would like to know just how close that was to the barrier. Yeah. Yes, it's known as Mandarin after the hotel that used to be there. But it's going to have to be renamed, I think, after that move. That was quite something. Oh dear. Goodness me. It's emotional, isn't it, the Macau Grand Prix? For so many different reasons, and these young drivers, it's where they get the chance to experience the highs and lows with the eyes of the motorsport world upon them. And what it feels like to be a winner at Macau is just being experienced for the first time by Emanuele Olivieri. And if you want to know what dejection feels like, it's just the other side of the Melco hairpin. Dear, oh dear. So we might get a chance to hear, I think, from Emanuele Olivieri. And drivers are down there in the Parc Fermé area. Helmet off. Emanuele Olivieri, the driver that was the Middle Eastern champion at the start of the season. Helmet off, balaclava off. Alex Legui is ready to have a word with our race winner.
For that overtake alone, you are the deserved winner of this FIA F4 World Cup. Just talk us through that race.
Yeah, I mean, what a race. Yeah, after I was really happy about my start because it was a really good jump, so I knew that I had the opportunity to overtake Weldon because the straight is quite long. I took the opportunity to around the outside. I was thinking it was a bit easier, but at the end I ended up quite close to the wall. So yeah, after there was an incident, but I think after the race I was quite, after the first lap I was quite struggling with the tires because I think Fionn behind had new tires. So I was quite, let's say, driving quite difficult with but yeah, still good win, all to play for tomorrow.
Yeah, so qualifying race absolutely nailed. This must give you a lot of confidence ahead of tomorrow's main race.
Yeah, for sure. We have now I have a lot of confidence also after yesterday quali. So yeah, tomorrow I will give everything. But for sure, this win means a lot. But I need to work out tomorrow.
Brilliantly done. We look forward to watching you.
Alex Legui, thank you very much. Emanuele Olivieri is the race winner, and the drivers will make their way to the podium. but so much of that was done off the start of the race. So let's have another look at the start. On board with Emanuele Olivieri. I'll say it again, that he's on cold tyres, speed building, they go through reservoir, and now the move against Sebastian Weldon comes. Now, speed is building all the while, but this is cold tyres, 6th gear, 230 kilometres an hour. 230 kilometres an hour, round the outside. Look at the wall, look how close he comes. We slow it down just to see how near to the wall he gets. It is very close indeed. It's the dirty part of the racetrack. Whoa, skill McGill. Emanuele Olivieri takes the race lead and goes on to win the qualification race for the FIA F4 World Cup.
Set up so early as well. That was absolutely phenomenal. You can understand why he was smiling when he got out of the car and Alex asked him about that manoeuvre.
Race result, Emanuele Olivieri wins from Jules Roussel and Rintaro Sato, who's under investigation. It is Rayan Caretti in 4th place from Maro Bansal and Kimi Chan. Kyoho Lee next from Simon Zhang, and then it's Suki Sato with Marcus Chung, the Macau driver, in 10th ahead of Yushi Wang. And after that, only 11 of the 19 finished because we lost Finn McLaughlin, Emily Cotti, Alex Munoz, Seb Weldon, Keen Nakamura Berta, Thomas Behrman, Thiago Rodriguez, Gino Trapper. Some big names at the back of the grid. Tomorrow is going to be amazing because what we've now got is a good little fight going on between Olivieri and Roussel for the lead, but a kind of semi-reverse grid because half of the field are quick drivers. Out of that rear group, you've got 1, 2, 3 champions, and pretty much 6 out of 9 have been race winners in a category or other. Can't wait.
I was just about to say the phrase, I absolutely cannot wait. Oh dear, the disappointment. Finn McLaughlin's car on the back of a recovery vehicle making his way back. But you know what? Finn McLaughlin equipped himself incredibly well up until that point. The final lap, the last half of the final lap, and just that little tap on the barrier. We say it every year. When Macau bites, it bites hard. And just the smallest of knocks at the place where you can't even overtake. And he's got a mountain to climb tomorrow.
He has, but it's not the steepest of mountains, in as much as he's going to be on the 6th row. There is a number of drivers immediately ahead who he is quicker than. He can make up some progress down to Lisboa. He is ahead of a number of very quick drivers as well. There's bound to be a drama at Lisboa on the first lap, so there are places to be gained. I'm not suggesting he's going to win it from 12th on the grid, but a podium is possible, I think.
If I was to sit down with him and have a little pep talk ahead of the race tomorrow, I would let him know that in the road sports race that we had, the local race earlier on, a driver that started 17th on the grid just finished 2nd on the podium. That would be the pep talk I'd have.
Well, he was 6th on the grid for that race, got himself up into 2nd, but ultimately a non-finisher, broken suspension, and the Red Bull car badly damaged. Right, let's just enjoy the highlights of the race as we wait for the podium. The podium here at the Macau Gear Circuit awaits, and this is the podium for the qualification race for the Macau Formula 4 race, the FIA Formula 4 World Cup. The result of the race we've just witnessed, won by Emanuele Olivieri, determines the grid for the main race, the World Cup itself, tomorrow. So the Senior Vice President, or Head of Resorts Operations Macau of Melco Resorts and Entertainment, Scott Tang, will be brought to the podium in order to present the trophies. The Melco Trophy Queens arrive onto the podium as well, and very shortly the Macau Circuit team will look after the podium presentations.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
That will be
welcome
for
back
Rintaro
to our
Sasso third, Jules Russell second,
presentation
and race winner
ceremony.
Emanuele
And
Olivieri.
Now it's time for the Macau Grand Prix Formula 4 race, FIA F4 World Cup qualification race. First of all, please welcome our winning drivers. The second one-up, number 30, Rintaro Sato from Japan. And the first one-up, number 7, Jules José from France. And the winner is number 68, Emanuele Olivieri from Italy. Congratulazioni. Welcome all winning drivers. And now, please welcome Mr. Scott Tang, Senior Vice President, Head of Resource Operations Macau of Melco Resorts and Entertainment, to present the laurels and trophies. Firstly, to our second one-up, number 30, Rintaro Sato. Omedetou gozaimasu. And also to our first one-up, number 7, Jules José. Felicitations. And to our winning driver, the winner is number 68, Emanuele Olivieri from Italy. What a moment. And Mr. Tang, please move to the center. 有請嘉賓移步到中間，我哋合照留念。Please move to the center and let's take a photo. Please look to the front, to our cameras at the media zone. What a moment, and the podium is yours. Thank you, Mr. Tang. Thank you, and would all the winning drivers remain and move to the top of the podium. Let's take one more photo, please. Please look to the front, to our cameras, to capture the moment. Our fans have been cheering you on all the journey, and thank you so much, and congratulations again. So now I'll pass the mic to Chris. We're gonna have a chit-chat section with the winning drivers.
Thanks very much, Elvis. Right, let's make our way up and have a word with our top 3. Rintaro, many congratulations. First of all, a great job by your team after rebuilding the car from yesterday.
Yeah, I'm so happy with the P3. Luckily, unfortunately, in the last lap, I got passed in the last corner. But yeah, we have tomorrow, so get ready for tomorrow, and let's see what happens tomorrow.
And how's it been driving this circuit? It's a challenge, right?
It is. So happy, so exciting.
Okay, well done. Good luck for tomorrow. Let's go around to see Jules. Great effort from the third row of the grid. Must be pleased with that.
Yeah, put the pressure and be clean and keep the pace and prepare for the race of tomorrow. And that's what I done. Start P2 tomorrow. So let's see.
Talk us through the final lap, the final few corners. Quite chaotic.
Yeah, but take out of the opportunity. So yes, I take it on P2. I'm really happy today of this result.
Excellent result, well driven. And our race winner, Emanuele, fantastic. What a start you had. So brave around Mandarin turn 2. We're on the outside to get the lead.
Yeah, it was quite a good start, to be honest. Quite a good jump, so I knew I had quite a good opportunity to overtake Weldon. I thought T2 was easy flat also around the outside, but I ended up quite close to the wall. So it was quite a risky move, but yeah, after I just had to manage my tires, it was quite slippery around. So yeah, just bring it to the checkered flag, but yeah, all eyes on to tomorrow.
And some pressure from Finn for the last half of the race.
Yeah, Finn was so close to me. I don't know if he had new tires, but I was quite worried because he was, I think, faster. But at the end, I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, anyway, happy with the win onto tomorrow.
Pole position for tomorrow. Well done. Give it up, please, for our top three.
Thank you, Chris, and once again, congratulations to our winning drivers for the qualification race, and all the best for tomorrow. Thank you.
Chris Hartley, the English circuit commentator, talking to the drivers on the podium. The top three you have with the race winner, Emanuele Olivieri, and that gives him pole position for the main race, which will take place tomorrow at 9:15 local time here at Macau. Join us for that. It promises to be a fantastic way for the F4 drivers to round out their weekend. The F4 World Cup, the Macau Formula 4 race, 9:15 tomorrow here in Macau.
歡迎大家嚟到第72屆澳門格蘭披治大賽車、澳門4級方程式大賽、國際汽聯4級方程式世界盃選拔賽嘅賽後記者會。首先，我哋恭喜台上面嘅車手，佢哋分別係第一位嘅奧利維利、第二位嘅魯塞爾同埋第3位嘅佐藤林太郎。
Emanuele, well done. If I can rewind to the kind of the key moment of the race, that start and that amazing pass you did at Mandarin, I think 230 kilometres an hour into there. The onboard was spectacular and not much room in the exit. Can you just talk through that moment for us?
Yeah, let's say it was quite not an easy start. I mean, I was quite happy already with my jump because I knew the straight is quite long, so I had my opportunity to overtake Weldon. As I said on the podium, I thought T2 was quite easy, flat also around the outside, but I guess it was not because I really ended up close to the wall. But yeah, anyway, I think it was quite a good move. After the race, I thought my pace was a bit better because I had Fionn right behind me. But I think he had new tires, so I had used tires, so I was quite struggling around with the rear. I was really surfing around. So yeah, I was quite managing to do a good last sector to be safe on the straight. So yeah, then I don't know what happened on him on the last lap. But yeah, anyway, it's a good win, good start position for tomorrow.
剛才奧利維利咧同我哋分享啦，其實喺比賽嘅過程當中咧，絕對唔容易啦。除咗場上邊嘅一啲事故發生之外咧，其實佢本人咧都要好 focus 喺佢自己嘅步伐上邊啦。咁佢覺得自己喺賽事嘅後段啦，做得係越嚟越好嘅，亦都好開心可以將架車安全帶過終點線啦，攞到第一。Sorry guys, can you put the trophies to the other side of the table? Yeah, on your right side. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay.
After the safety car restart, I think Finn was very close to you on the first lap. Then you pulled the gap out, and then the gap closed down again. How much were you managing pace? How much were you kind of balancing risk, well aware that you needed to finish in the front for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, the safety car restart was not an easy one because I had Fionn right behind me, so I knew he was going to try to overtake me at the end of the straight. I did quite a good defense. So yeah, after, as I said, I was just trying to do a good last sector, even though I was quite struggling in the old circuit. I was just trying to have a good run on the straight. I did two couple of defense. I think he also did a couple of mistakes. So yeah, just try to be easy, to drive safe, and yeah, to bring it at the end.
咁而佢都補充到咧，其實喺比賽嘅過程當中咧，佢都有多次咧被後車去面對後車強烈嘅攻勢啦。咁但係佢覺得自己首先就係要抵擋住佢，唔好俾人哋超越。咁同埋咧就係將架車安全帶過終點。
Jules, congratulations on second place. You started 9th today. How happy are you? How surprised are you to come through and finish second?
Yeah, really happy. And start more behind than the front row. And so I just go with mindset that I have to take care of my pace, but keep it safe. And that's what I do in the first big break. Choose the right line, because I know if we have some crash, that will be go outside. So I take opportunity here, and all of the race, the pace was quite good. We keep the new tire for tomorrow, and yes, keep the pressure on Arwintao, and overtake him at the last corner to take all of the opportunity. And tomorrow we will start second place. that's it.
好，而第二位衝線嘅魯塞爾咧，亦都同我哋講，其實佢喺整個選拔賽嘅過程當中咧，都係 keep 住自己 focus 喺呢個自己嘅駕駛速度啦，咁同埋希望自己唔好喺中間犯任何嘅錯誤，然後喺選擇一個啱嘅時機去擦出一啲快圈啦，可以保持到自己嘅位置啦。咁佢好期待聽日會喺第二位起步嘅。
How's your experience of the Macau weekend been? Because it's first time having the World Cup here.
Quite a really big experience. I think for now it's my biggest race of my career. Since the beginning, I love the track. I love the atmosphere of this race. Was really legendary, and take pleasure all of this week. The pace was there, and I'm quite happy.
而佢亦都補充到咧，佢第一次嚟澳門啦，咁所以咧好期待喺東望洋跑道上面作賽嘅。一直以嚟咧都好中意呢一條賽道啦，亦都覺得嚟到之後覺得呢個成個賽事嘅氣氛非常之好。而佢咧亦都覺得澳門嘅賽事喺佢嘅職業生涯裏邊咧係好緊要嘅一場賽事嚟嘅。對於佢自己喺本週末嘅表現咧，佢就覺得自己嘅速度都非常之好啦，所以都好滿意。
Rintaro, congratulations on your finish. Could you talk about the first phase of the race? Because you were kind of in the middle of all the chaos of that opening lap and managed to stay out of trouble. How difficult was it? How did you have to be on your toes?
It's been really tough, because it's so hard to avoid the crashes. So we need to be ready all the time to avoid the crashes. And unfortunately, in lap 1, we got lots of crash in some corners. So it was really, really tough to avoid it. But fortunately, I managed to avoid it. And I was P3 in the races. So I'm really happy with this. Yeah.
好，而佐藤咧都有同我哋分享啦，其實佢覺得喺選拔賽裏邊嘅過程都好艱難啦，因為賽道上嘅事故頻發啦，咁所以佢一來要保持自己嘅步伐，另外咧亦都要避免唔好俾場上嘅事故而影響啦。佢好開心可以聽日喺第3位出賽。
And how did the race pan out after you for that? The leaders had pulled away a bit, but you had tremendous pressure behind, and Jules was pushing you all the way and then got you on the final lap.
So in the first lap, I hit the wall a little bit, and I think the car is a bit broken. I think I got slow puncture in the last few laps, so it was really hard to block the Russell coming behind me. And in the last lap, the second place is he crashed in after the Macau hairpin, and I needed to hit the brake to avoid it. And at that time, Joe Russell literally behind me, he was in the box, and in the last 2 corners, it was a bit hard to block him because I crashed yesterday in the qualifying, so I had a bit, scary to go in a bit too much. But yeah, we have tomorrow, and fortunately I managed to finish the race, so I got confidence with this, so I'm ready to fight tomorrow.
而佢都補充到咧，其實頭先喺賽事嘅過程當中，尤其是係去到比賽嘅最後一圈咧，其實佢都承受住好大嘅壓力啦。咁但係因為佢自己曾經喺排位賽裏邊咧都有擦場嘅事故啦，所以佢就 keep 住自己嘅步伐，盡量唔好犯錯。對於喺第3位完成咧都好開心啦，亦都令佢增加咗佢嘅自信心，面對之後嘅正賽嘅。
Okay, any questions for our top 3 finishers?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, Michael McClure from Fader Series. It's a question for all 3 drivers. Manu, you touched on something interesting about being on used tires and sliding around. Can you all explain a bit more how in race conditions the car's behavior was going if you were on these used tires, and where in particular you found there were challenges with the grip and tire performance?
I think today was the hottest track temp of the days. So usually the more hot, the more slippery it is. So yeah, we choose to be on all tires to be all set for tomorrow. But yeah, anyway, I don't think it was maybe the best choose, but anyway, we won the race, so I won't complain too much. But yeah, I was quite struggling to actually keep the car on track because I was, I think you could see on the road, I was really oversteering quite in every corner. So I was also quite trying to be safe, to not do some silly mistake. But yeah, anyway, I think the new tires advantage is giving you quite a lot of lap time and confidence, of course.
Jules?
For me, I was behind Wintaro out of the station, So just try to push as much in the sector 4 and 5 on the two last sector to keep him on the straight. So out of this session, I don't really feel that less grip out of the session, but compared to tomorrow with the new tire and in the qualifying, quite less. But yesterday in the qualifying it's quite hot track too, and maybe hotter today. But yes, for me quite okay. And for tomorrow I start with new tire, so tomorrow it will be normally okay.
And Taro?
Today's a really hot day than yesterday, so it was quite hot in a racing track temperature as well. And some corners, they had a crash before we races, so some curves are a bit dirty, so it was really hard to don't slide the car too much.
Okay, any more questions? Okay.
Yeah, Rintaro, this one's just for you. You're one of 2 drivers in the field who've raced here before, doing so last year in the Formula Regional World Cup. How relevant has that experience been for you this weekend, and in what ways has it helped you the most?
You know, last year it was raining all the time in the day 1 and day 2. And in the qualifying Q2, it was dry, but I crashed in a lap 2, so didn't have any experience with this. And the day 3, it was half dry and half wet in the last few laps. So just 5 laps, I had a dry, so I get the experience with this. But in the day 4 last races, I crashed in the T1, so it was really hard to know the dry condition. But this year, it was all the time dry, so almost it was my first time to join the Macau Grand Prix. So.
Any more? Well, good. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all 3 of you. And if you can stand for a photograph, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Sorry, with the trophy?
Okay, okay.